Dear Mr. Cid, Moist Critical is probably one of the most sarcastic people on YouTube. He has a dry-ass, monotone voice, and it is riddled with fucking sarcasm. Dear Cid, you do realize that fight between Nicocado Avocado and Moist Critical was fake and for views? You do realize that, right? You do realize a thing called sarcasm. It's an amazing thing.
Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Cid. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Cid_Dwyer. And in today's video, I want to talk about the YouTube.
Why do I know that name? Have I watched something on this channel of his before or something? Have I watched something of his before? I don't know. That name sounds familiar, though. No, he doesn't look like Hassan at all.
YouTuber and Twitch streamer Penguin Z0, also known as Moist Critical, also known as Charlie. And I firstly just want to say that I like Charlie's content. If you're after some light-hearted, humorous content, then Charlie's your man. But even though I like his videos, I can't ignore the fact that I have noticed an irresponsible pattern appear in some of his commentary content. Some people may think that there are bigger fish for me to fry than this topic, but one of the biggest compliments that I get on my channel is that I talk about things that not many people have talked about or nobody is talking about. So yeah, while I could make a video on more problematic people like Nicocado, Avocado, and Deaf Noodles, I'm going to make a video on something that isn't really being talked about. And something that I want to make sure you'll know is that this video is not a hit piece on Charlie by any means. This is just outlining a problem that I've seen with Charlie's content. The main issue revolves around him doing not much research for his commentary videos, which has resulted in him misreporting on situations pretty badly. And this isn't a case of me having so much of an issue with it that I unsubscribe and dislike his videos and leave hate comments. I can still enjoy some of his content even though I don't agree with how he's gone about something.
Yeah, but when Charlie messes up, doesn't he, like, retract his shit and make a new video? I don't understand the whole Nicocado Avocado thing either. I mean, Nicocado Avocado is a troll. It's what he does. I do not get it either.
But I think at the end of the day, for someone who has 11 million subscribers, if he's going to provide commentary on a situation, then he needs to do his research beforehand. Especially considering when it is expected that when Charlie makes a video about somebody, his fans will go and harass them. Even though for the most part his videos are just light-hearted comedy, his fans will still go and attack them. And I know that he has made a couple of videos condemning his fans for doing this in the past.
I don't know how much more clear I can be when I say I can't stand it when people harass or insult someone or some community I make a video joking about.
But at the end of the day, regardless of whether he likes it or not, it still happens and he could definitely do more to prevent it. Also, I know it's not the majority of Charlie's fans who go and leave hate comments on the people who he makes videos about. Like I said, I enjoy some of Charlie's videos and I don't...
But you can't control what the fan base does. The only thing he can do is condemn it. You know what I'm saying? You can't control that. Exactly, Skip. Leave small man hands Charlie alone. I mean, period, right? Yeah, Charlie always tells his audience never to harass anyone. It's not like he's going to somebody's house and, you know, making them do something. What? I was mad at you for telling them to do that, Salvo. There's a big difference. You told them to do it. But we straightened it out. We're good. We're friends, Salvo, right? We're friends.
go leave hate comments. But there's enough of Charlie's fans who do that make it into an issue. And two big examples of Charlie making videos on a YouTuber and then his fans attacking them are with Nicocado Avocado and Deaf Noodles. I know, two very hated members of the YouTube community. You may think that these people deserve the hate that they get from Charlie's fans and just click off the video. But when you hate on them based on misinformation that Charlie often just literally creates out of thin air, that's when it's an issue. Because the videos that Charlie made on Deaf Noodles and Nicocado Avocado are filled with contradictions, hypocrisy, misinformation, and it's pretty clear that close to no research was done prior to making the video, other than checking out a few tweets. I think if Charlie did his research, kept things factual, and gave a warning at the start or the end of his videos to not go and send hate to the people who he was making a video about, then I think that that's when we would notice some kind of change.
Wait, what? Wait, no. What?
That's when it's an issue, because the videos that Charlie made on Deaf Noodles and Nicocado Avocado are filled with contradictions, hypocrisy, misinformation, and it's pretty clear that close to no research was done prior to making the video, other than checking out a few tweets. I think if Charlie did his research, kept things factual, and gave a warning at the start or the end of his videos to not go and send hate to the people who he was making a video about, then I think that that's when we would notice some kind of change. I don't like preaching about what someone can do to improve, because what the hell do I know? But I do think that
Oh my God, I bet you he's one of those who think that you always have to have the trigger warnings too. I bet you he expects people to have trigger warnings also. What's up, Edwin? He constantly tells his audience, don't go and harass people. But now he has to put a warning in the beginning and the end of his video. How is that going to change if they're not listening to him actually saying the words out of his mouth? Skip. Well, hell, his entire video has been one big ass disclaimer until now. So yeah, you're probably right. Yeah. And I'm going to speed this guy up too. Also, FYI. The hell? A warning's not going to do anything.
what I just mentioned is a good start. Another thing that I want to touch on is how Charlie is held to a completely different standard. I know he doesn't claim it to be some kind of reputable news source, but at the end of the day, he does provide commentary to past and current events and broadcast them to his 11 million subscribers. And you would think that him providing information to such a large audience, he would take a little bit more due diligence. And for as relatively short as his videos are, he does get quite a bit of information wrong in them. And even though he literally just makes false things up sometimes, he's just given a pass that many other commentaries will never be afforded. But he has had to apologize multiple times in the past for misrepresenting situations, to the point that when it came to him misrepresenting the Deaf Noodles situation, people were saying that he usually comes out with an apology. These are the comments that I saw talking about what Charlie does when there's a situation that he needs to apologize in. So it seems like his fans are aware that he has some kind of rhythm when it comes to him apologizing to things. And is that not a red flag to anybody? I feel like his fans shouldn't know that. If he has to apologize that much to the point where his fans recognize some kind of pattern, then there's obviously an issue there, and no other creator would be able to get away with that. To continually get things wrong and then to continually apologize. Like, maybe just do the research beforehand so you don't have to get things wrong and then apologize for them. I once saw a commentary channel criticize another commentary.
That's what I want to know. Is he just going to sit here and tell it? Okay, well, he shows stuff. Okay, it looks like he shows stuff. Okay, so he gets into it. Okay. All right, so he's going to show stuff. I think he's just doing his disclaimers right now.
Channel for not doing adequate research.
And because this is the tea community and nobody does research of their own, I know it takes you only 30 minutes to make a 30-minute video, but the rest of us actually put effort and research into our shit. It takes time.
But then this exact same guy in a different video will be frothing at the mouth at how great of a guy Charlie is, when Charlie is guilty of doing the exact same thing as that other YouTuber.
Okay, sir. Now, I don't know who you are. You sound familiar. But what we're not going to do today It's bad enough you're going for my boy Charlie, all right? But now you're going after my homie Willy. That other YouTuber. I understand, you know, you're trying to be all hoity-toity and uptight and shit like that. But I'm gonna need you to chill the fuck out. He's coming for Charlie and Willy in the same damn video. This man has lost his damn mind. This man has lost his damn mind. Bruce Allen, I will hide you in this chat. Willy is my day one commentary bro. That's my day one commentary bro right there. He does lost his damn mind. And he's frothing at the mouth?
No secret, Critical is one of my favorite YouTubers.
So I think it is a pretty problematic double standard that this guy can bash on somebody for not doing enough research and then turn a blind eye for Charlie. Okay, so now it's time to get into some of the examples of...
Okay, I'm gonna tell y'all what I think about Charlie's content. I think Charlie's content is like... The way I look at Charlie's content is almost like how I look at Peter Mon's content, in a sense, okay? Charlie's content to me is if you were just sitting down with a friend, drinking a beer, and just having a conversation. You know what I mean? It's not put together like a Willy Mac video. You know, or something like that. The way I look at Charlie's videos is him sitting down. Okay, give me a second. Him sitting down and having a conversation with you and just, you know, chilling, lay back, drinking a beer. You know, that's how I look at his content.
Of Charlie spreading misinformation. And I'm going to first do that by going over the 3 videos that he made about Deaf Noodles. So the first video that he makes about Deaf Noodles is in relation to the comedy show that Deaf Noodles did. We start off this video by saying that he's unfamiliar with Deaf and that he's only seen a few things about him on Twitter. So Charlie starts watching the roast and Deaf is introducing it and says that there's some really awesome comedians there. But Charlie says, scratch what Deaf said, this is what it actually is.
That's not exactly the format. What he did is he assembled a few people who said they've told a joke before in their life, and he had them roast each other.
Yes, they did suck that night. It was like very cringy and...
That first roast battle was absolutely ridiculous. That first roast battle was so damn bad. There were so many of us in the call reacting to it.
Embarrassing night for them, but they were all seasoned comedians, whether you believe that or not. Then he follows that up with the statement that none of them knew each other.
Nobody knew each other. Literally nobody. Oh yeah, I forgot. Sorry, the volume's going to be really low because it's so poorly put together. So all they can do is roast each other's appearance because they don't know them. They're random people that he got together and told them to roast each other.
And that is just completely untrue. This wasn't just a random group of strangers. They all either knew each other or knew of each other. Yes, Charlie was actually correct in saying that these 2 people hadn't met before, but to assume that everybody there hadn't met before was just completely inaccurate.
Dude is literally going off semantics. The streamers reacting were more entertaining than the roast. It was. And we had so much fun that night.
I mean, just to paint a picture, everybody here knew each other, right? Like they were either friends with Steven or friends with Corey or friends with somebody, and everybody kind of pulled together.
I do get that if you weren't keeping up with Def's podcast, then you probably wouldn't know that all but a couple of these people hadn't met before, and I really wouldn't have expected Charlie to know that. But the fact that he says that nobody there knew each other when he literally just doesn't know if that's true or not is just spreading misinformation in its purest form. And he uses that information that he made up out of thin air to say that that is why the roast is so awful. Like he repeats it multiple times throughout the video, as if it is actually true. But this is something that he completely made up.
What is this guy on? What is this guy on? Oh my God, this dude right here, he is nitpicking. Holy shit.
Terrible format. You can't roast someone you don't know. So he not only got people that don't know each other, so can't roast each other.
And
he's showing the 2 that don't know each other. Like, dude.
Def made a response video to Charlie's video titled, My Apology to Moist Critical for First Super Roast Battles. And just take a look at the intro to his video.
Folks, today's video is a little bit different than usual. I think it's about time that I address the new allegations against me. It feels like it's only been a few days since...
Hopefully we can all agree that that obviously looks like a joke. Like, he's just making a joke apology video. And I mean, the video isn't really even an apology video. It's just filled with a bunch of things that Def Noodles thinks are jokes. And at this point in time, Def is pushing the whole notion that his content is all just satirical, you know, hence the reason why he's hosting comedy shows. But because Charlie didn't do any research on Def, he thought that Def was legitimately upset and was genuinely apologizing. So then Charlie made a video titled My Response to the Drama, which was a response to Def's apology video. Immediately in the intro, he continues to peddle that nobody there knew each other and it was everyone's first time on stage.
Yesterday I posted this video, and it's me talking about a YouTuber event that was hosted where it was a roast battle, but there was no preparation, everyone was a stranger. I'm also pretty sure it was everyone's first time on stage, so it just became this giant, unhinged, festering petri dish of concentrated cringe.
Quite honestly, that's exactly what it looked like. It kind of seems like a Def Noodles defense video, doesn't it? Like, what? Swanky. Last time I saw someone this smug, it was my ex-wife.
But other than that, the biggest thing that stood out was the shift in tone. There is such a vast difference between the tone in Def Noodles' video and Charlie's video.
Here we are once again, addressing more allegations. I mean,
This is such a weird way of starting the video because I didn't make any allegations against him. I made jokes about the event and talked about it.
He completely missed the point. He is taking Def's video completely seriously.
fuck it up. I mean...
I think...
Okay. Dear Mr. Cid, Moist Critical is probably one of the most sarcastic people on YouTube. He has a dry-ass, monotone voice, and it is riddled with fucking sarcasm. Like, what? Holy shit.
I think it's important to note that this entire 10-minute video is sarcastic. The entire 10 minutes is spent in full sarcastic monologue like it's a high school drama club exercise. And I really don't see why he would think that's a good idea.
He is joking. Yes, it is not funny by any means, but it is obviously a joke. This is not a genuine apology. If Charlie looked into Def's content just a little bit, he would know that for the last month, Def has been making these joke apologies. It's super easy to miss the point with one of Def's jokes, but it was very obvious that his apology was a joke, even if you didn't know that he's been doing it as a thing. So that is Charlie just completely misrepresenting a situation.
Cab says this dude clearly doesn't like Charlie and wants to be mad about what he did. The roast is real and the roast really suck. And Charlie said what he said. Exactly. What the dude?
Because he didn't do his research beforehand. And then Def hosts another comedy show that Charlie does a reaction video to. And most of you are probably familiar with this show because it was the show where Def Noodles pushed a guy named Salvo Pancakes off the stage. And in Charlie's reaction video, he says that he doesn't know that...
That was a good night too, with a bunch of us in a call reacting to it. Just saying.
The guy involved, and he doesn't know anything leading up to it. And he actually does come under fire for spreading misinformation about Salvo Pancakes in this video.
Yep.
Charlie essentially says that this guy, Salvo Pancakes, only showed up to harass people and cause commotion.
And he didn't know that he was on the roster, and he didn't... Yeah, he did get that wrong, but then he made a video and updated what he got wrong. Like, he admitted that he got that wrong.
That isn't fully true. Def Noodles and Salvo did have an arrangement that Salvo would show up and they would do a roast.
And Def f***ed it up. Def f***ed it up. He shouldn't have been in the audience. He should have been in the green room. But Def Noodles was too much of a pussy.
Together at this event. But in spite of the arrangement, causing chaos is pretty much all Salvo did. As soon as Salvo enters the room, he immediately tries to get backstage without permission. Yes, he may have felt entitled to go backstage because he was a part of the roast, but if he had watched the first roast, he would know that a lot of the comedians were residing in the audience and walked to the stage from...
Oh my god. This dude, Oh my God.
the audience, so even they weren't all backstage. So it shouldn't have been unusual for him to be denied access to the backstage area. But he causes a scene anyway. At one point, he gets on stage and gets people to chant Red Bar, which is the title to the podcast that he is a part of. So yeah, he does cause a commotion. And this causes Def to get physical and push Salvo off the stage. And yes, I do agree with the consensus here. That was totally unacceptable. But in spite of everything,
True,
the show does go
Bruce.
on, and Salvo is eventually given a mic. He starts chanting F Def Noodles, which is something that Def even joined in on. And then Salvo talks about doing some kind of hour-long monologue on Def.
I just want to give Salvo a chance to get everything he's got to get out of his chest. All right? So, yeah, feel free. Right ahead.
I have to agree with you, Salvo. Your clothes of choice that night was not the best. You have dressed so much better, like, even for Fireball. I have to agree with you there.
All right, Salvo, what do you think? On 3. Def Noodles. Def Noodles. Def Noodles. Def Noodles. Def Noodles. Def Noodles. Really? Right when I join in. I'm not going to stand up here like every other...
Squirrel, I have no idea what this dude is doing. I kind of feel like he is defending Def Noodles. I have no clue. But it's not just Def Noodles. He goes into Nicocado avocado. So I'm really, really excited to see what he says about Nicocado avocado.
Hack comedian LARPer that is playing the Joe Rogan experience with the fake Joe Rogan, get on the podcast, act like they're real comedians. I'm not going to do that. So I'm going to monologue for about an hour about how pathetic this grown man really is.
So Salvo obviously wasn't there to do a roast.
Honestly, I wish they would have just let him do that monologue because I knew it was going to be bad. Oh.
They did take the mic off him after a couple of minutes, but the fact that they even gave it to him to begin with when he was doing nothing but derail the event, and even that is still pretty reasonable in my opinion. So yeah, since Charlie's...
Because you don't have a fucking sense of humor. Def Noodles, what he should have did was walk out and being that Salvo was already on the stage, not push his ass, but instead act cool and calm about the situation. I don't know, maybe put your arm around and go, okay, guy, let's go ahead and do it now. Def Noodles could have saved himself right there, but he didn't do it. He even could have saved himself after he pushed Salvo, but he didn't do it. Even at one point, your boy Def Noodles that you're defending, he took shit out of his pocket like he was going to do something. He emptied his pockets like he was going to do something when he ain't really about it. I mean, what? I mean... He probably does think Def Noodles is funny, because this dude is, like, dry as hell. What the f***?
His take on the situation was basically that Salvo was just some random guy that showed up to cause a scene. Salvo did not like that, considering there was some kind of arrangement with...
There was already an arrangement in the DMs for that bull. No. Def Noodles could have handled that a hell of a lot better than what he did. I'll still stand by that.
Def beforehand.
But you don't do any research. You don't look into it. You don't really even
and
care.
yes, Charlie got that part wrong. Yes.
It becomes a problem when you put it out and then people think that I went there to harass and to straight up cause a commotion. Well, that truly doesn't really bother me that people think that. It just goes to show you how lazy you are and about how you really don't really think about the content that you're making, and you rather put on a clean white shirt and you brush your hair, you put on a snapback, you press record, and you mumble and you monotone through another video, leaving everything to be desired.
So then Charlie took back what he said about Salvo.
But the part where I made my oops-a-daisy is when I was briefly talking about what Salvo's intentions possibly were with being there, and I was basing this off a series of tweets from audience members that were talking about what he was saying.
Even though most of what he said was pretty accurate. So Charlie made a video about a situation that he was uninformed about, got called out for it, and then sided with the people who called him out.
Because what he was getting called out about was the truth. And what he did was talk about how he fucked up and said the truth. What is wrong with that? That's like the video we watched earlier tonight. Papa Gut trying to go after ABBA for something that he had already fixed because he didn't watch the original video. What is wrong with you people? How many times do we have to say people fuck up? And it's okay. It all depends on how you handle the fuck up. What is wrong with these people? Yeah, Charlie even realized he was wrong. Like, what? Someone in the chat said earlier that Cid doesn't like Karen. Sounds to me like he might be one. He does sound like a Karen. Who is this dude? And got 118,000 subscribers? It sounds like a fucking crime to me.
Then he did some revisionism and now has completely changed the narrative of what happened in people's minds, when his original take was actually closer to the truth. Yes, Charlie was wrong that Salvo had just rocked up to the event, but he was pretty accurate in saying what Salvo was actually doing there. And I just want to quickly talk about the video where Charlie redacts what he said about Salvo, because in that video he says that the reason why he assumed that Salvo was just a random audience member was because that is what happened in the first roast.
And I take full responsibility for not researching this far enough. I just made the assumption that it was like the first super roast battle where it was...
That's what you do when you fuck up. You take responsibility and fix it. Did he not do? He did that. So where's the problem? Once again, why you bringing up old shit? Why you bringing up old shit?
It was just random people that Def Noodles lured in here.
Again, the people in the original roast were not just random people that Def lured off the street. So this is just another issue with him spreading misinformation. He's literally creating more misinformation based off another piece of misinformation. Like, there is a problem there. Like, he literally made up in his own head that nobody at the first roast knew each other. And then he used that information to assume that that was all that Salvo was, just another random person. Like, all of this could have been avoided if he didn't make something up at the start. Also, in Charlie's video about the second comedy show, he did reference a tweet and said that if that tweet is to be believed, then this is what happened.
So if this account is to be believed...
Which is far better than him telling a whole bunch of mistruths with conviction as if it were the truth. But I can see why Salvo was mad about that, since Charlie based half of his video off this tweet that wasn't fully true, when he could have just done a little bit of research to find out what the truth was. And I just want to make it very clear, if I haven't already, that I am not excusing anything that Def has done. I think we can all agree that Def has done some pretty shit things, but it's also not okay for somebody to completely make something up out of thin air about somebody. So anyways, now moving on from that situation and onto another situation that Charlie covered on another equally as hated person. Charlie made a video on the YouTuber Nicocado Avocado titled, "This YouTuber is slowly killing himself for views." I'm not here to say whether or not I think Nick is killing himself for views. Look, Charlie may very well be onto something. I think he started off with a good premise that in a one-sentence title may ring true, but then it fell short when he started to make things up. Much like the Def Noodles situation, this turned into a whole saga, once again filled with misinformation, some really questionable stuff on Charlie's part, and a whole bunch of contradictions. So let's get started. One claim that Charlie made in his video about Nick was that Nick now needed a full-time nurse to look after him.
I think he also claimed to now have to have a full-time nurse in order for him to just engage in...
Okay, this dude's pissing me off. This is crazy. Yes, he is. He's picking all the chair. Okay. Dear Cid, you do realize that fight between Nicocado Avocado and Moist Critical was fake and for views? You do realize that, right? You do realize a thing called sarcasm. It's an amazing thing.
Day-to-day activities.
Not true, and Nick called this out, and then Charlie in his follow-up video said that he saw a tweet of somebody saying that Nick had a nurse.
He says that I'm incorrect about, like, the nurse, like the full-time nurse to take care of him, and that's entirely possible. So sometimes I'll go to Twitter to read threads about Nicocado Avocado to be kept up to date, and I recalled reading about a nurse that had to be on standby in order to make sure that he was able to go about his activities.
So the Nick situation happened before the Def Noodles situation, so this was not the last time he incorrectly used a tweet as a source. So he got things wrong because he was using Twitter as his source. He did it in this situation, and then he later did it again in the Def Noodles situation. So perhaps he should be fact-checking the stuff that he gets from Twitter before including it in a video. Yes, in the Def Noodles situation, he did say if this account is...
I have a question. Do I need to make you my project where I go through every single one of your videos and fact-check you to see if you got everything 100% correct? Do I need to do that? Do I need to do that? I really don't want to, because I don't want to spend hours listening to your voice. But do you need to become a fucking project? I'm wondering. Like, seriously. Do you need to become a project? He is literally sitting up here all hoity-toity and shit. Like, what? This is ridiculous. This is absolutely ridiculous.
to be believed, but in this situation he just completely believed it as fact and then said it in a video. Something that I noticed on a video about Charlie was a comment saying that they're glad that people aren't coming at Charlie wanting to cancel him on Twitter. And I agree, I'm glad too. I don't think cancel culture achieves anything. But what I think is interesting is that some of his fans obviously don't agree with this Twitter hate mob mentality, yet Charlie is directly getting some information for his videos from these Twitter hate mobs. That was just another little double standard that I noticed. If you don't like Twitter hate mobs, then I can't imagine you would approve of somebody who gets their information from Twitter hate mobs. So the next piece of information that I want to bring up is that Charlie says that Nick broke his ribs as
Dude. Okay, wait, what are you talking about, the broker?
a result of his weight gain.
He claims that the weight of his body has now broken a few of his ribs, which now has him bedridden.
Nick broke his ribs from violently coughing as a side effect from the COVID-19 vaccine.
Cid, I'm telling you right now, if you even fucking believe that he actually broke his ribs, then you do not know sarcasm. Because while Nicocado Avocado's ribs were broken, he did that one TikTok where he was bouncing around and stomping around. If his ribs were broken, he wouldn't have been able to do it. I.e., his ribs weren't broken. Oh my God. This dude's bad. This dude's bad. Oh my God.
But I will say that Nick did make it pretty confusing at the start. He did say that his broken ribs were as a result of his obesity and the coughing.
It must be a combination of lots of coughing for the past 2 months because of this, my reaction to the shot, and my diet and my weight. Coughing excessively for over 2.5 months, and my obesity, all 350 pounds of force.
But after those videos, in a later
Okay, side note, because Nicocado Avocado is a troll, right?
Reaction to the shot, and my diet and my weight. Coughing excessively for over 2.5 months, and my obesity, all...
He has that mask on, right? My husband has to wear that mask. It's not on. He's just wearing it. You know why? You can't talk with one of those masks on. Because it shoves air down your nose. Or up your nose. And then down. You can't talk with that mask on. When my husband tries to talk with his mask on, it sounds like he's sucking in air because of the air that's being shoved down his throat. The mask isn't even on, you dumb f***. So much for being f***ing smart, huh, Cid? Holy shit.
all 350 pounds of force.
But after those videos, in a later video, he did clarify that his broken ribs had nothing to do with his weight.
And people say to me, oh, well, your weight is one of the reasons why. My weight is irrelevant to this situation. It really is. The blunt force trauma was expelled, not impelled. When I coughed, my lungs expanded. I've been coughing for 2 months straight, violently, bent over. Has nothing to do with the fat around it. If it were the other case around, the fat would be pushed.
So Cid just showed that he's not being super factual either by showing Nick saying his weight was that. Yes, that's exactly what Cid did. Cid just exposed himself for being a dumb who thinks he's smart. Come at me, bro.
In if you're trying to make a case.
I almost wasn't going to include that in this video because I do get it's pretty hard to keep up with Nick.
You can break your ribs by coughing too much. That can happen. That actually can happen. But yeah, this dude's self-reported. 100%.
It is no secret that he does lie a lot. I once brought up in a video that Nick acting outlandish paid off because he owns a multi-million-dollar luxury.
Nicocado Avocado is a f***ing troll. It's what he does. He is a troll. Yes, 90% of the shit he's telling you when he's in character is a f***ing lie. Nicocado Avocado is a character. When that camera cuts on, he is a character. Holy shit.
luxury apartment. But as I came to find out, that apartment wasn't one that he owned, and it was just one that he was staying at for a holiday, even though he made a very convincing house tour video. And that was something that he had done on his channel before. He would stay at some kind of luxury Airbnb or hotel and do a house tour, and very convincingly act as if it was his actual home. So yeah, I totally get that it is hard to keep up with everything that Nick says. But the difference between the detail that I got wrong and the detail that Charlie got wrong is that his detail wasn't just a throwaway comment. It wouldn't matter at all if I took what I said out of my video. The reason why Charlie decided to chime in with what was going on in Nick's life was because Nick started uploading these videos titled Disabled Mukbangs, because Nick became temporarily disabled when he broke his ribs. Like with Def Noodles, how all of Charlie's opinions hinged on the fact that he thought that nobody there knew each other. In Nick's situation, Charlie thinks that Nick is killing himself because he thinks that his weight gain caused Nick's ribs to break, which according to Nick's current account, which was available when Charlie made his video, his weight gain did not cause his ribs to break. And then in Charlie's follow-up video to Nick, he suggests that Nick doesn't have broken ribs altogether.
Just say you don't like Charlie. You could have gone without making a 41-minute and 25-second video. Just say you don't like Charlie. Stop trying to sprinkle it with like a big old internet intellectual bullshit. Just say you don't like him. Just say you don't like him, because the way you're nitpicking, there's no way you like him in the way that you're nitpicking the way you are. Especially when you're taking Nicocado avocado serious. Just say you don't like him. Yeah, the video would be better if he just said Charlie sucks. Yeah. Like, what? But you know what's funny? He didn't show that TikTok that, well, we still got some time on this one. But he didn't show that TikTok so far of Nicocado avocado saying he has broken ribs and he's bouncing around and shit. You didn't show that though, did you?
Hey, congratulations to Nick. It looks like his broken ribs are healing pretty well, because he starts this video by stomping into the room. And I also checked his TikTok. He's been going kind of hard, so it looks like his broken ribs seem to be doing better now.
Yes, he doesn't outright say that Nick is lying, but he obviously implies it. So Nick didn't break his ribs as a result of his weight gain, or they possibly may not even be broken to begin with, in Charlie's opinion. So regardless of what happened, the point that Charlie tries to make that his weight gain impacted his ribs is just redundant. Also, the sleep apnea machine that Nick uses in his disabled mukbang videos is a sleep apnea machine that he's had since he's a kid, not as a result of his weight gain, which is something that Charlie also mentions in his video.
And he also has been diagnosed with sleep apnea, I believe.
Are you really prepared to go on your channel and tell the world that I developed sleep apnea this week? I've had this since I was a kid. Some people, it's hereditary, who are underweight or normal weight. It's all about the tubing. It's all about snoring. Do you know how many thin people snore? It's sometimes genetic. Yes, your weight can make it worse. Your weight can add extra pressure to the pipes. But I've had this machine since I was a kid, when I was a healthy weight. It's just something I have to live with.
So all but one reason that Nick is supposedly killing himself can be debunked. So all that's left to indicate that Nick is apparently killing himself for views is the rate at which he eats junk food. In Charlie's follow-up video,
Dude. Oh my god, I don't know what to say about this dude. He doesn't understand the back and forth that was Charlie, and he doesn't get it. This guy might legit have the condition where he can't read sarcasm or subtle humor. That might be the problem. Oh my god. I don't know if I want to watch. Oh, dear god. How long do you go on this Nicocado avocado shit? Dude, seriously? Play, bitch.
when that is the only point left to make, he elaborates on it a little bit further, saying that Nick has an eating disorder, which is also completely made up. He says that because Nick went from small to big, there's an eating disorder present.
I showed these photos.
Okay. Nicocado avocado has said himself he has an eating disorder. So you're not taking his word? that he has a eating disorder. And you can kind of look at Nicocado avocado and what he eats for the camera until he has an eating disorder.
Because it shows a complete transformation from one body type to another, and it shows that there is still an eating disorder present, because it feels like his audience has reinforced his eating disorder, which is taking a negative effect on his overall health.
Nick has talked about having an eating disorder during his vegan days, but he hasn't said anything about having an eating disorder currently.
Have it on camera. He's saying that I have an eating disorder and I still have... Who are you? Again, the high and mighty, all right.
That was the best part of that fight between those two. Nicocado avocado just constantly going, who are you? Who are you? Oh my God.
Just all-knowing individual. How do you know if I have an eating disorder? Based on the fact that I do mukbangs? Are you prepared to say that every other mukbanger who posts every day also has an eating disorder?
In his follow-up video on Nick, he condemns his fans who left hate comments on Nick's videos and says that that's not going to help Nick.
You're not some kind of internet vigilante fighting for justice. That angry comment you left on Nick's video isn't going to help him.
But
True. Fact.
making a video about him, making jokes about him, isn't going to help him either. If he actually wanted to help him, where's the call to action to show him some support? Something that I also found interesting was that...
Okay, yeah, I'm done with this dude. I'm done. No, he's one of those that he's got to have the trigger warnings and shit like that. No, I'm done. Cid, you suck. And you don't understand sarcasm. And you should have just named it the reason why I don't like Moist Critical, a.k.a. Charlie, a.k.a. Penguins 0. Because you are a bit too much. Good God almighty. I'm sorry, I heard call to action. I'm like, nope, I'm done. Nope. I am done.